I used to sit here and think, this whole thing is just crazy at times, and then I'd think about it, and it would make sense, and it's like, okay, this is what I gotta do, but I don't even question it anymore. I don't really feel bad about it. It's just the way it is.
It was deep in the woods of the Pacific Northwest. The trees were dark, deep. As the unending rain fell, a man was busy deep in the forest. He was digging, he was building, and he was planning. He had been working on this for almost a decade, and his twisted mind was about to give birth to something horrifying. Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this little video, we are going to do just another one of them darkest YouTube channel style videos. We have got survivalists, two types if you can believe that, and we've got plenty of disturbing stories. But before we get into it, please subscribe to see new stories for the dark every single week. Now, you and I, let's give it a go. It was in the remote and frigid north of Sweden that in late 2024, a young man was setting out on an adventure. That young fella was 22-year-old Storm DeBeul of Belgium. He was going out there by himself to the lonely region of Sweden called Jokkmokk, because that was what he did. The aptly named Storm was a YouTube survivalist. Young Storm had been uploading videos for a few months by this stage, beginning in late summer 2024. He had been interested in survivalism since he was a kid, and he clearly knew his stuff. His videos featured him traveling across Scandinavia, camping in Norway, distant Sweden, and he would live out of his car and just keep on trucking. His videos were all sort of ASMR style. He never spoke in his videos, letting the sound of the most wild north tell the story of itself. Storm was said by his family to be one of those people who just had difficulty making friends. He was happiest when he was out there by himself. He had been in and out of education, but just found it just wasn't for him. He had started out camping in Belgium as a kid before traveling all across Europe, but he always preferred the colder climates, camping out and hiking out in the colder climates than the warmer ones. He had been to Malta and was camping out there once, and after that he said he'd be happy if he never saw the sun again. His channel was solidly growing, but it didn't seem like he really cared too much about that. He was more into the beauty of the landscape and showing his survival skills. And he was skilled, well able to have his tarps and tents set up, chop wood, hike, and remember he would have to hike to a lot of places twice, once to set up the camera, then run back and film himself walking towards it. But the love Storm had, for the wilderness, it would soon take a tragic turn. Only a handful of months into him actually uploading videos to his Storm Outdoorsy YouTube channel. Storm posted his final video on October 23rd, 2024, titled Camping in the Forest, No Shelter. Just a quick ASMR camping trip in the forest, eating campfire baked potatoes. The weather was good, so I didn't set up my tarp. I did wake up at night by a bit of rain falling on my face, but nothing serious. He was camping in the remote Swedish countryside by this point, and 1 week after he uploaded and posted this video, he was in the distant and lonely Swedish region of Jokkmokk. This area is also part of Lapland, which I know, isn't that where Santa Claus lives? This area is remote-ass remote. Less than 3,000 people live there, and during the winter it's actually the coldest part of Sweden, but in late autumn it ain't no picnic. Temperature hovers just above freezing during the day, sometimes well below freezing during the night. And this is where Storm was, alone in late October. He was about 14.6 kilometers, which is it's about 9 miles, of rough wilderness from where he had parked his car. So he was deep in the bush. And I'm not too sure if he was familiar with, like, winter camping. He had only started posting on his account in August, so 3 months by this time, and it seemed like he was posting as he was filming during late summer and autumn. And, as we can see from previous videos, he packed light, and was rarely seen with any cold weather gear. And it was on October 30th, 2024, that Storm was caught in a storm. He was caught in a blizzard in this lonely place. At first, it ain't no thing for a fella like Storm. He recorded a video and sent it to his friend, filming his tent whipping in the Arctic wind, and showing that his shoes were covered in snow, saying in the video, "Tonight, the situation will get worse. Jesus Christ." His friends messaging back to get the hell out of there, but Storm saying, "It's nothing." He then messaged his grandmother saying, "It's snowing profusely here, but don't worry, I'll survive, you know." But it was at 2 a.m. that night that Storm sent out an SOS. Things were not looking too good. I mean, it looked bad enough in the video, and it had only gotten worse as it had gotten later and later and colder and colder. And in this kind of situation, it's not the temperature itself, it's the wind. The wind was making -6 degrees Celsius. Temperature seemed like -18 degrees Celsius. He would have been really struggling, not just to keep warm, but to survive. The blizzard that night was exceptionally bad. Trees were uprooted, and so we can only imagine that his tent and tarp were likely swept away by these winds too. So just before 2 a.m. he sent out a distress signal to the Swedish emergency services. He informed them that he was injured and he needed immediate medical assistance. They managed to locate where he was on the map. They replied to his message, but he never responded, and the blizzard was so bad that night, they couldn't actually go out there to get him. The winds and the snow were so lethal, it was preventing the helicopter from being able to safely take off and go to where they believed he was. The search didn't actually begin until the following morning, and by that stage, Storm had been quiet for quite a long time. When they found him the next day at around 10 a.m., he wasn't even close to where he'd sent that distress signal from. It looked like he had tried to hoof it back to his car in the middle of the night, but he hadn't made it. He had his backpack on. It was empty other than his sleeping bag and his toothbrush, and he was pronounced dead there and then. His feet and legs were frozen solid, and his face was bloody. His nose was broken, so maybe, as the storm worsened, he had tried to get back to his car by himself, fell and broke his nose, and then he called for help that wasn't coming, and so he continued on. To date, his camp hasn't actually been found. Due to the weather, a proper search will only begin come spring 2025. Storm was a guy who was happiest out in the wilds, the Swedish wilds in particular. He was asked once by his grandmother, why did he keep going back? And his answer was, very few people and a lot of nature. And tragically, young Storm's life ended in a place and doing what he loved. Alright folks, before we dive in any further, I'm just going to real quick hop online and find your social security number, if you don't mind.
Let's have a go.
The social security number of pretty much every American was leaked online this year, thanks to 2.9 billion records being compromised in the hack of National Public Data. National Public Data is a service companies use to conduct background checks on you, so they have all your data, and now it's online. And the hackers who stole this data, they released it all for free. Not only can I find this information, but I could also look up on a data broker site and find countless more personal information about you that you do not want shared. Imagine all the fun I could get up to with your home address, your phone number, your email address, or your social security number. Now, I of course would never do this, but a scammer would. And this is how to get into your bank account, take out lines of credit in your name, etc, etc. And who's going to protect you? Not the government, because data brokers are 100% legal in the United States. Not National Public Data, they just filed for bankruptcy. That's why, personally, I've been using today's sponsor, Aura, for over a year. Aura monitors your personal data, including your social security number, across billions of data points, like the dark web and public court records, to alert you about potential identity theft. They also provide up to $5 million in identity theft insurance in case the worst happens. Once I set up Aura, it showed me how many data brokers had my private info, and they took it down on my behalf. Plus, Aura offers a variety of other features to keep you safe online, including real-time alerts of data breaches, a VPN for secure browsing, data broker opt-out to stop companies from selling your personal information, a password manager to help you create and store strong passwords, and more. I'm now leaving myself vulnerable to data breaches and brokers, and if you don't want to either, you can go to aura.com/thatchapter to try 2 weeks for free, which is enough time for Aura to find out if any of your personal data is exposed. Once again, go to aura.com/thatchapter to try 2 weeks of Aura for absolutely free. You'll honestly be horrified by how much of your personal and private information is out there, but don't worry, Aura has your back. Now, let's get back to it. On YouTube still to this day is a channel by the name of Lynn K1970. It features our host, a woman named Lynette Keller, posting videos of her making crafts.
Hi guys, I'm just looking through all this stuff that Christina sent me. Oh my gosh. I love the little cute green containers. I just love everything. And then these. My husband actually gave me some money and I was going to go out and buy some of these. But I'm going to go buy ink instead. Oh my gosh. So awesome. Sorry, I'm trying not to get too excited because my husband's going to be like, what are you doing? Okay, so I'm almost done. I know, I'm whispering.
She was very artistic, showing her hobbies, dresses, giveaways, and glimpses into her life.
Hi everyone. Okay, so I keep asking you guys to send me intro videos and like how you got into scrapbooking or crafts and just tell me about yourself. And then I realized that I haven't done it myself. So I actually did it about a few weeks ago, but the video didn't turn out. I'm not sure what the problem was. And then I forgot to do it again. So this is me. My name is Lynette, but I like Lynn. I have a daughter who's going to be 19 pretty soon. She's in college. She's going for her gaming certificate. Oops, sorry, my video is probably not good. I have my PJs on, so I'm trying not to go down too far. So, and I've been married in April. I'll be married for 20 years. But yeah, that's me. I just crafting. I don't work. I can't work right now because of the injury. So yeah, I'm just at home. All right, I better go because I'm just rambling. But yeah, I hope you guys are having a great week. Okay, bye.
Lynette, as you probably imagined, was born in 1970 in California, but her family moved when she was still young enough to Oregon. Lynette was known to be passionate and loving. She had her husband Peter, who was the sole provider for the family, and a daughter named Kayleen, who, after graduating high school, would go and work on computer games, Skyrim being a favorite of Kayleen's.
So I started YouTube a few months ago. I've been, told about it for quite a bit, but I just never looked into it. And so I figured, okay, might as well, because, I'm not really into the Facebook thing anymore. And I don't really like playing the computer games no more. So I wanted to just focus on my crafts and, do stuff. I found the YouTube and I started getting subbies. I was really excited, like when I first got my subby, Michelle.
The family would later move to just outside of Seattle, and they seemed like this happy little family living in the Pacific Northwest. However, 42-year-old Lynette Keller would post her final video April 22nd, 2012.
Hi everyone. Okay, this is a shout out. It's supposed to be a video response, but things not working, so I'm going to try to do this. I've actually been trying for several days. But One Craft Cottage.
See, alongside these videos posted by Lynette Keller, her husband Peter Keller would also have a lot of his videos posted on YouTube. But they weren't posted on YouTube by Peter himself. No, they would later be uploaded to YouTube by the Kings County Sheriff's Office. It's a number of videos that were all pulled from Peter's vlog.
This winter's been, just to show just how brutal it was. Well, we had a big ice storm. This is one of the trees that's fallen down over the trail. Kind of another one over there. Just a lot of damage. Branches down everywhere. makes it a little more difficult to get through, but I don't want to move it. I'd like to keep it as hard to get through here so nobody will come out here. This winter's been pretty brutal. It's been really slowing me down. I was hoping to be done about a month ago, but it's just constantly snowed, and last month has just been really, really wet and rainy, and it's just couldn't do anything for a long time. But I'm hoping now that the weather is going to change. It looks like it's getting better. It's starting to switch over. Can finally get everything up here and finish this off. Finally do what I have to do and get it out of the way.
It's unsure if he ever intended for these videos to be published to a site like YouTube. He never did. They were published after the fact. But in his videos, he addresses an audience and speaks about what he is planning on doing.
At this point, I don't know what's going to happen. I may get caught right away. Basically, if I get caught, I'm just going to shoot myself. So, I mean, I could basically be dead in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I don't know. It's all up to chance at this point. So, I don't think anyone knows where I'm at. But if they put it together, who knows? At this point, I have to take that chance. So, it's just going to be a point of, go as far as I can. I do have my escape, and that's death. And I'm okay with that. So,
you might have guessed it already, but Lynette was totally unaware that Peter was also making his own little videos, and she was definitely unaware of what their contents were, because Peter Keller was literally vlogging his plans to murder his family. This is insane, and Peter sounds insane, to be honest.
Today we're hauling up a 55-pound pack, basically a big bottle full of beans that's about 45 pounds, and some winemaking stuff, and then just the weight of the gun in the pack. So, a little lighter than what I have been doing. Doing pretty good. Really got a lot of stuff up.
The scariest part about it is how clear he is in his voice, his eyes, and how he simply talks like he has to do it. About how he simply can't do it anymore. Can't handle the regularness of life.
I'm getting to the point where just trying to live and pay bills and live as a civilian and go to work, it just freaks me out. It's actually more comfortable for me to think about living out here, robbing banks, pharmacies, just taking what I want for as long as I can. At least it'll be exciting. It won't be boring. And I don't have to worry about Lynette or Kayleen. And everything will be taken care of. It'll just be me. So
that's something probably a lot of us think about now and then, but what we don't think about is murdering to escape it.
it's the point in which I kill my wife and my daughter in their sleep. They won't know it. I'm hoping that I can just do it real clean. Nobody wakes up. Got a silencer, and that's my goal. Nobody's gonna suffer. Nobody's even gonna know about it.
As Peter says himself, well, at least it will be exciting.
At least it'll be exciting.
Just try a roller coaster next time. Peter Keller had, since about 2004, he'd been building a bunker in the remote Pacific Northwest woods. These videos were from 2012, so he had been working on this and knew what he was doing. This was no spur of the moment, sure why not type deal. His video documents him bringing items to his bunker, supplies, food, propane, cleaning supplies, whatever a survivalist would need. He had created his own Camp Keller. The videos are a scary but also fascinating look into the twisted, disturbed mind of somebody who is just preparing to do something just so utterly horrific, yet is so clear and really views it as just something that, you just gotta do it. Just something he just has to do.
Well, before, a while ago, I used to sit here and think, you know, this whole thing is just crazy at times, and then I think about it, and then it would make sense, and it's like, okay, this is what I gotta do. You know, just the more I've thought about it, the more I understand it. I don't really feel bad about it. It's just the way it is. You know, certain things happen that cause this to happen. So, just kind of accepted it and just rolling with it.
What's kind of amazing is that even though he likely presumed his only audience would ever be the police, he still wants it to be good, retaking some of his intros and what he says and whatnot.
Well, it's about 2 weeks before the end. This is going to be my last video, probably before till after that. That's terrible.
Because even crazy people need to get the best take all right. He does this multiple times.
Well, it's about 2 weeks before I finally drop out of society and start this project. Well, it's about 2 weeks before we finally drop out of society.
Peter Keller lived in North Bend, Washington, a small town just on the suburbs of Seattle. He lived there with his wife Lynette Keller, who you've already met. They had been high school sweethearts, then they had later, drifted apart, then reconnected later on in life.
Hi everyone, I just want to say happy Easter to all my awesome subbies.
Lynette, as you've already seen, was a very talented and creative craftswoman, selling jewelry, dolls, and other crafts at fairs around the state. She had been unable to work a regular job after a workplace injury.
I'm not doing too good today. Sorry, I'm just in a lot of pain. Today is just a horrible, horrible day.
And of course, she was posting her little videos. What exactly led Peter to becoming a homicidal doomsday prepper, we don't really know. It seems like it was probably a slow transition. Financial difficulties, he loved the wild, he wanted to be there, he thought, I guess, that his wife and his daughter were in the way, he needed to make them get out of the way. It seemed like he resented his wife, Lynette, even though she clearly loved him and, thought the world of him. He resented her due to her workplace injury, so she was unable to work. That meant he had to bear, the sole financial responsibilities for the family, and he says it in some videos that he just resented her, felt like she was a drain on the money he was making for the family.
My husband got me this table, that table over there, and then this big shelf. I just love this stuff. He got me all that furniture, and then he put my shelves up for me. Such a great husband.
This then likely built and built and built, and he was a proud survivalist. In his house where he actually lived with his family, he had a huge collection of guns and survivalist prepper, equipment, which he would proudly show off to anybody who would listen. And even if you wouldn't listen, he would still probably demand he show you. He even told people about his bunker in the woods that he was working on, but he forbade anyone from visiting it, even his wife and daughter. Only he knew exactly where it was and what it was. Everybody else just saw these little snaps. We don't really know exactly how much Lynette knew about his plans. He would go hiking a lot, that's what he told her. In reality, he was working on and bringing supplies to the bunker. Maybe Lynette just thought it was, a bit of fun. Maybe she thought it was a good idea too, but just not to the same extent that Peter did. We don't know. And we never will.
Well, this is the end of the day. I'm getting wrapped up, getting ready to leave. I don't know if you can see me, but kind of one last look at everything.
We only get a small glimpse into Peter's bunker, but it looks frankly pretty amazing. It was all built by one man by hand over the course of about 8 years. He had dug 20 feet into the mountain. The bunker was 3 stories with a cement foundation. It had multiple entries and exits, cost him thousands to build all of this. It was truly elaborate. This is where he wanted to live out his days, away from everyone, including his wife and daughter, who he was going to kill. It was on April 22nd, 2012, the same day that Lynette posted this video, that the Keller family home was engulfed in flames. Emergency services arrived quickly and tried to enter the home, but the fire was too much. When it was finally extinguished, pulled from the wreckage were 2 bodies. At first, it seemed like a horrifying accident. A fire had broken out, and in it, killed was Lynette and 18-year-old Kayleen, dying of smoke inhalation from the fire. However, the subsequent investigation would prove that not to be the case. Found around the home were 6 gasoline cans filled. They were all filled up. It seemed like this fire had been started and spread around the home deliberately. They also found an undetonated pipe bomb in the house. And most horrifyingly of all, Kayleen and Lynette hadn't died in the fire. It was found that they both had been shot in the head. Police swiftly identified Peter Keller as the main suspect, and the hunt was on. His car wasn't at the residence, but with the police searching, it was later discovered in downtown North Bend. But Peter wasn't anywhere to be found. It was then family began to tell the police about Peter's love of nature and love of, well, really hoping for a doomsday at this point, because otherwise it'd all be for nothing in Peter's mind. So, if the world wasn't going to end by itself, Peter would make damn sure that he would end his own world. Peter had last been in work on April 18th, telling his colleagues as he left work that day, he probably won't ever be in again. 2 days later, he withdrew $6,000 in cash. So he had money, he had plans, and found missing from the Keller family residence was a mountain bike that he often used, and his extensive armory of firearms. All gone. Well, I mean, he had been planning this for 8 years, so it would kind of suck if he made a mistake now, after all that effort. But the thing was, he did actually make a mistake. With all the things he took, he left behind some things he shouldn't have. Namely, plans and pictures of his bunker, along with all of these vlogs. He left them all in the house for the police to find.
So I've been up here about 7 hours. That includes hike time and work time.
And using those images, those videos, and the plans he had made for his bunker, the police were able to narrow down where he had likely built it. Police eventually tracked him down to an area in the Cascade Mountains and warned all civilians to stay away while they combed through the forests. And, searching that area, spying smoke one day, they felt they'd found him. It was at first light on April 27th, 5 days after he murdered his wife and daughter, that armed response units surrounded his bunker. SWAT team threw in tear gas canisters and prepared for a standoff that would last about 22 hours. SWAT finally entered the bunker the following day, careful for any booby traps and whatnot. They didn't find any. The only thing they found was Peter Keller's dead body, lying in a pool of blood, a gun nearby.
Tonight, we go inside the mountainside bunker of an accused killer. Police say Peter Keller worked on this elaborate hideout for years. They believe he went there to hide after murdering his wife and daughter in their North Bend home. Keller's body was found Saturday inside that bunker.
One investigator called it something out of a survivalist handbook, an underground fortified bunker, totally camouflaged in a heavily wooded area on a mountainside in the middle of nowhere.
You can see the rough-hewn logs, the timbers that were milled here on the site and pulleyed across this ravine that's in the background. It's incredibly well reinforced.
Like he said in his vlog, he was going to end it all if things didn't go his way. Things didn't go his way. It was just a tragedy that he had to take his wife and daughter with him. Peter Keller really was a selfish sack of shit. A man who desperately wanted the end of the world. He was driving and trying to empty the gas tank to get to it. And in the end, he got what he wanted. Him alone in his bunker, a gun, his only friend. The next channel I have for you, it's still up, though a number of videos were removed from the channel. They're still floating around the internet. It's titled Mora Murray Loves Me. Now, I'm sure a lot of you know exactly who Mora Murray is referring to. It's a story I covered eons ago, back in like the way early days of that chapter, and it's still to this day one of the most baffling, mysterious, and honestly pretty disturbing disappearances. The story of Mora Murray, it's so infamous simply because of how shrouded in mystery the circumstances of her disappearance are. So to quickly run through what happened. Mora was a 21-year-old student who was studying at the University of Massachusetts, Amherst, Western Mass. She was studying nursing. She was a good student, came from a good family, had a boyfriend, didn't seem at all like the kind of person where, what would happen to her. On February 9th, 2004, shortly after she went back to school as the second semester was about to begin, her car was found in western New Hampshire. No sign of Mora. It would appear like she may have been in a car crash. Her car was found sort of against a snowbank. But there was no sign of Mora whatsoever. Passers-by would later come forward with a few conflicting accounts. One person would say they seen a young woman there at her car. Another person would say they'd seen a strange man there at her car, but neither of these people were ever found. And to this date, Mora Murray has never been found, despite extensive searches throughout the New Hampshire and Vermont wilderness. Where she was going, nobody knows, though her family had vacationed in this area in the past. So why she was there, no one knows. She had called her work placement, saying there was a death in the family, so she would be out of town. But there was no death in the family. So no one knows why she was there, where she was going. She had, said there was a death in the family to the work placement, the nursing work placement she had been doing. There was no death, so why was she making this? It's a story just totally shrouded in mystery about what she was planning on doing and where she went or was taken to.
From the State House, Mora's family returned to where she was last seen 1 year ago.
Good. That it?
Her father replaced the ribbon that has marked the spot where Mora crashed her car on Route 112. A song written by Mora's friend is played, adding to the emotions of all that has been lost and all which remains unanswered.
I've been up here a million times. It doesn't get any easier. It just doesn't. I just hope she's well, not suffering. Just want her back.
It was 1 year ago Mora packed her bags and left UMass for New Hampshire. A witness saw her walking away from the accident. Her father believes she was headed for Bartlett, but police and her family can't answer the question why. And despite numerous searches around the area, no clues have turned up where she might be. Even still, her father does not give up.
I'm completely hopeful. I mean, that's what I want. Am I realistic? I don't know, but I'm not gonna stop hoping that.
But the point is, since her vanishing, a number of disturbing videos were posted on the YouTube platform claiming to be involved or linked to whatever happened to her. As in, she crashed her car and someone took her. It's freaky because no one is really sure if it's one person doing this or if it's multiple people doing this. And it began most famously with a user called 112 Dirtbag. The name is what draws attention because Mora disappeared on Route 112, that's where her car was found, and Dirtbag, Mora Murray's father, referred to those involved in whatever happened to her as dirtbags. On February 9th, 2012, a video titled Happy Anniversary was posted. It features this man laughing like a crazy person. Posted, of course, on the exact 8-year anniversary of Mora's disappearance. 2 days earlier, the same user posted this video, which, I mean, it's a shot of what simply shows a pass for the Breton Woods mountain resort in New Hampshire. It's about an hour from where she disappeared near Haverhill. And all of these were posted like 8 years after Mora initially vanished. It's very weird, and both videos were like privated and removed shortly after being posted, but the few folk who managed to spy them before they were taken down, they thought the videos were weird enough that they saved them, and so copies still exist to this day. Now, investigators did follow up with this character, and they found out his real name was Alden Olson. He lived in Amherst, where Mora was attending school. Though it appears he was cleared from any involvement and was likely just mentally unwell, folks still think that there are clues in the videos to what he did. But that's old news, and that was like the first weird thing that happened. But later on, another channel was set up titled Mora Murray Loves Me. The channel posted videos in 2017. The first video went up October 9th, 2017, titled Barn. Now you can hear cars, so it's probably near a road, the effects VHS style added in post. Then the camera drops. Like, honestly, the whole thing seems kinda dumb. But later, then, a second video was posted, that's still up, titled The End. It went up 4 days after the first one. It seems to imply that Mora was still alive, and with a map drawn in Microsoft Paint, it's surprisingly not helpful. The area most people think it points to is Big Island Pond, which is far from where Mora initially disappeared. Now, both these channels, all these videos, likely fake, likely bullshit, right? But what's weird and creepy about, and disturbing and dark about all of this is, even if these are bullshit and weird, they're being uploaded about a woman who disappeared over 20 years ago as I'm posting this video. The videos were still up. They only began posting 8 years after she disappeared. So whether this is something real and dark and sinister, or more likely, truth, which is just trolls, you gotta be a real sick puppy to be posting these videos so many years after the fact if you're just being a troll. It's messed up. It's creepy and dark as shit. The channel MOSB46PGH has only 2 videos on it. But those 2 videos tell you everything you really need to know.
This is my house from the street. Here is my car. This is a 2-bedroom brick ranch, conveniently located. My car is an 07 Altima. I paid $79,000 for this in 1996. That's considered a lot, believe it or not. Okay, we're approaching the door. Open it up. Oh, someone left it unlocked. That's not good. Inside, okay. Here's my big screen TV. 32-inch. It's my computer. Let me pan out a little bit.
The first video shows a house. It's the creator documenting his home in Pittsburgh. It's a pretty standard home. A single man lives there alone.
Pan to the other side. Speakers on each side are large. They double as end tables.
He seems eager to show it off to whoever who may be watching. But he's not trying to sell the home as you might initially think. Hey, look at this. You want to buy? No, he's not interested in that. Not interested in that sort of thing at all.
Okay, couch and chair, they match. The woman will really be impressed. Okay, come over here. There's some reading material that we're all familiar with.
The video is for other men and part of a seminar he had attended, basically learning how to get a date and to show that he thinks his home would be female approved. As you can see on the table, he did a lot of reading on this.
Okay. Little hallway, 2 bedrooms. 2 bedrooms. To the right is my bedroom. Okay, looks pretty clean. I'm sure she'll be impressed.
Ladies, are you impressed? You're supposed to be.
Now this back bedroom I use just for storage. There's a lot of junk here. You know, as we could see, bottles of cologne and spare change and shoebox full of old pictures and photographs and stuff, and room with a view. My backyard and everything. Everything works. Punching bag. Just everything I need. Well, that about sums it up.
The man who made these videos was George Sodini, a 48-year-old computer guru who worked at a law firm.
It is easy for me to hide from my emotions for one more day. Take a long drive in the car, listen to some music, daydream, or just do some mundane task around the house that really doesn't need to be done, that's not too important. And there you go, one more day, and one more day turns into one more year. Now, RDS says that I have approximately maybe 15 more years to be successful at this. And when I heard that, I wanted to continue immediately to start moving on this. I didn't realize I had that much time. So my objective is to be real and to learn to be emotional and to be able to emotionally connect with people. Because when I'm 10 to 20 years older than she is, she has to feel good about this thing. And the only way around that, is to work on this.
Watching this video, you kind of feel sorry for him. He clearly is on the spectrum, probably has a lot of difficulty communicating with people, especially women. But when you get to what he did, you lose sympathy for him real fast. Because, basically he was an incel before incel was a term. He had faced so much rejection and denies from women that come 2009, he hated every woman on planet Earth. His sexual frustration, his lack of sex, he hadn't had sex in like 20 years by the time he was posting these videos, and so he would attend seminars by pickup artist gurus, did all the things he thought would work to get him a date, and nothing. He wrote on his blog, entry dated December 29th, 2008, about 6 months after this video, "I actually look good. I dress good. I'm clean shaven, bathe, touch of cologne, yet 30 million women rejected me over an 18 or 25 year period. That is how I see it. 30 million is my rough guesstimate of how many desirable single women there are. A man needs a woman for confidence. He gets a boost on the job, career, with other men, and everywhere else when he knows inside he is someone to spend the night with and who is also a friend." And so, due to all of this, which was all in his head, he began to plan something that was so utterly horrific, and he planned to carry it out in August 2009. "I took off today, Monday, and tomorrow to practice my routine and make sure it is well polished," he wrote. "I need to work out every detail. There is only one shot. Also, I need to be completely immersed into something before I can be successful. I haven't had a drink since Friday at about 2:30. Total effort needed. Tomorrow is the big day." He added, "Any of the practice papers left on my coffee table I used or the notes in my gym bag can be published freely. I will not be embarrassed because, well, I will be dead." On August 4th, 2009, he walked into a female aerobics class called Latin Impact. He walked into the back of the class, didn't say anything to the instructor or to the other attendees. He picked this class because it would be, mostly female. That was at night, 8:50 p.m. He walked in, stood at the back of the class, put his gym bag down on the ground, and turned off the lights. Then out of that bag, he pulled out 2 handguns and began firing. He would fire 51 shots into that classroom. The 52nd shot would be directly into his own head.
The man who turned a simple aerobics class into a massacre was 48-year-old George Sodini, a loner who had been planning his attack at a health club in suburban Pittsburgh for months.
He had no relationship with anybody in that club that we know of.
Shortly after 8 p.m., Sodini walked into the aerobics classroom. He didn't say a word. He placed a duffel bag on the floor, shut off the lights, and opened fire.
There was 4 handguns he had on his person.
She was in the front, because she was teaching.
Alex Primus's wife, Mary, who's 10 weeks pregnant, was leading the class when she was shot twice.
She said that she held her breath so that if he came around again, it would look like she was dead.
Primus should be okay and her pregnancy unaffected.
He shot 12 women that night, 3 of whom would be killed. Not much needs to be said about George Sodini, nor really should much be said about him. He was a shitty person who blamed his own shittiness, blamed the rest of the world for all his problems. He was the good one. He was the right one. He was in the right. The rest of the world was wrong when really he was just a shitty guy who couldn't get a date. The problem was himself, and he ended that problem, but tragically not before he took 3 lives and countless other injuries and traumas with him. But when you have pieces of shit like George Sodini or Peter Keller, in my mind, the best way to beat them, to beat these monsters, is to laugh at them. Because no matter how horrifying their actions were, how terrifying they are, or how seriously they wanted the world to take them, these sacks of shits are ultimately a complete joke of a human being. Thank you so much for watching, folks. It means the absolute world to me that you are here watching this whole video. I hope you found it as interesting as I did digging into it. As always, if you're looking for some more That Chapter, you can check out the That Chapter merch down below. Very, very proud of it, so I hope you all like it. You can check out the That Chapter podcast, which has a brand new podcast exclusive episode every single Monday morning, and listener stories every bonus whenever we basically get around to recording our listener stories. It's great. Thank you so much everybody who sends in their own stories, which we read out. You're all becoming a part of the podcast. And finally, you can check out the That Chapter Patreon, where for $2 a month you get early access to all videos, and there's a Patreon-only playlist there of Patreon-exclusive videos. So please give it a go if you think that's for you, but you know what? Take care of yourselves. Do whatever you do you. But until the next old video, please take care of each other. Please take care of yourselves. Because I love you. Mike out.